This one, is it still? Is it? Okay, after the instant dilemmas there of a falling phone, I am live on YouTube and on my phone on Facebook. Yes, that's why on Facebook it's portrait and on YouTube it's landscape. Today I'm going to talk about improv in Hampshire because I teach in Basingstoke where I have courses, a course coming up in June as my pen falls on the floor. 11th and 12th of June I'm in Basingstoke teaching my fundamentals of improv comedy. Please book on. You can find details on Eventbrite. And you can just search out Basingstoke Improv, or probably Nathan Improv would be better actually. You'll come to it. It's me teaching in Basingstoke and it's improv. Can't really go wrong there. Yeah, so enjoy coming to that. Book and play. So apart from me saying that, I am here to talk about improv in Hampshire. So I will do so. Yes. Let's think. So obviously I've got my stuff that I've got in Hampshire. I set up Basingstoke Improv probably in 2014. Does that make sense? Probably makes sense. And there was a moment I was able to do weekly sessions because I was closer to Basingstoke itself. And that is when we formed a performance company over some time. I taught a lot of weekly sessions, which helped. So those of you that are teaching and forming community groups, weekly stuff really helps. I apologize to the places there where I don't live because I understand that weekly stuff helps people practice, have an informed, hello Krisha, have an informed person in the room to facilitate rehearsals and practices and such. It does help. So that also does allude to the fact that coaching, get a coach in the room. I'm free to coach as well. Email me. Anyway, back to Hampshire. So Basingstoke Improv had been running for a little while before I had a performance group in Basingstoke. Over the time from when that began, I taught some clown sessions as well. So we got some clowns to happen, and we put some clowns into performances that happened in Basingstoke. It's really cool. So we had lots and lots of different things happening in Basingstoke over the time. Musical improv was a great form that was enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoy clown. I thoroughly enjoy musical improv. So it's no real surprise that this happened. I shared my love of it. Yes. What else did I do? Oh, I also have a trance-based improv course, class that I was trialing back in the day. So I developed that with Basingstoke. So that was fun as well. Been a while since I've done that. Ooh, book me to do some trance improv. That'd be great. I like that as well. It's fun. It's interesting. But I'm supposed to be talking about history. God, I should really get back on track. I keep sidetracking myself with all these different thoughts. But anyway, lots of things happen in Basingstoke over the time. In Basingstoke, I found out fairly recently, just before the COVID-19 outbreak, some people had begun some improv. I don't know who they were or what they're doing now, but that is the case. And there's people that live around Hampshire as well that perform improv, but I think a lot of them are up near the north of Hampshire where Basingstoke is, or are they? Good question. I don't know where they all live. But I think they go outside of Hampshire for the most part to perform improv, which is a shame. Performing Hampshire. As other things, history. In Havant, there was a theatre company. They stopped in 2015, but that was in Soup Theatre, and they did improv called Instant Soup, which is not to be confused with the Bristol improv company that throw out instant soup to the audience, and they're called Instant Wit. They're Bristol based and not Hampshire at all, but don't get confused with those. Or do, it doesn't really matter because one doesn't exist anymore. But the theatre company was professional actors, I believe. Yeah, they were professional actors, and they did improv as well, and that was good. But that could also be confusing because the Bristol Instant Wit are also professional actors. The actors like the word instant. Okay. Portsmouth. Brian Armstrong runs Portsmouth Improv Experience. I do not remember when he started that though. I remember him coming, and we had a nice little chat in a pub in Basingstoke after a show. That was great fun getting to meet Brian. Awesome person. Go to Portsmouth, watch his stuff, do his classes. I think the next place would be Southampton. In Southampton, it's a university group. I think they're a comedy society, so they don't specialize in improv per se, but they do improv. I honestly can't remember what they're called, but they're probably called the Comedy Society or Southampton's Comedy Society, something like that. But I could also be very wrong. So I think it's quite a brief history, I suppose, because I don't think there's much more than that, and it's all very recent stuff. I would have to go a little outside of Hampshire to continue on to talk about other groups that are down that way. For example, there is a group or company in Portsmouth that has gone under various names over the years. So I'm trying to pin my brain to one of them. You would have thought it would be easier when there's multiple names to remember. Just find one of them. But I can't. I'm thinking it's a long line like Improv with Us, but it doesn't quite work either. That's gonna frustrate me, That's gonna frustrate me. But anyway, now that's in Bournemouth. That's a wonderful group, a wonderful company. I went one wintry season, and I performed the show with them. So I went to a couple of rehearsals, a rehearsal, and then went to the show just to guest in with the group because that's always a fun thing to do. And it was great fun. I picked up at the time I picked up a couple of games that I had not used in a performance, and that was good. It's really good, and I have actually used it since, I believe. One of the things that comes to mind. Interestingly, with that, I had a rickety old car at the time, and I drove to Bournemouth in this in the freezing cold weather. And the time I remember is the show itself, and it was very, very icy. So I had parked up, and I went to Bournemouth with my nan. I took my nan to come and watch me improvise. And after the show, we went back to the car, and the whole windscreen was iced over, and that's very unfortunate. I got in, assuming it would just be fine if it just scrape it off with the windscreen wipers, and it's not. It would sort itself out ultimately. So I scraped a little bit off. It was okay. I could see a little bit. Assumed it was going to be even better if I just keep going a little bit. So I turned the corner. I realized this is impossible. I can't do it. So I had to just quickly pull over. Otherwise, I was going to kill my nan or something. Not clever. So I pulled over and sorted it properly. But I can't classify it as a near-death experience. But I'm pretty sure that could have been very hazardous for at least my nan's health. It would have been both of us, really. But think of my nan. Think of my nan. So that's not Hampshire at all, but it's an interesting one. Maybe I could think about interesting things that have happened in Hampshire. Then I auditioned for the group in Heaven. I didn't. Yes, my poor nan, indeed. That's what happens when you hang out with me. I auditioned for the group in Heaven, and I didn't live anywhere near Hampshire at the time. I think I was living in Wales, and I commuted. I just went to Heaven to audition, with very little expectation that they'd want to hire someone that lived nowhere near near their company. But it was for the fun of it as well, for the fun of it. And it was a nice one. It was a nice audition. Just got to improvise, play, have fun. Yeah, there was something I could speak to more, but I don't really want to, so I'm not going to. Yes, and yourself. I think I said that last week as well. Yes, and yourself. Acknowledge what you want. Something else then. What other things happened in Hampshire that I can speak to? We had lots of great shows. I suppose I was in a certain mood in a performance, and I didn't generally perform in the shows in Basingstoke. I let the people that I talked to perform, but I did a couple of bits. And there was one time I was in a little bit of a mood to do like a Buffon-esque, but it wasn't quite Buffon. But I hosted a little bit as a character, basically, quite a mean character, and that was fun for me. But I did hear afterwards one person wasn't quite keen on it, didn't quite understand it, but it was funny. It was funny, just not necessarily for every single person in the room. It's unfortunate as well. Dark inners that come out of me when I so desire, I suppose. Yeah, so that was good. It was funny. It's just about getting to the point where you're on the verge of the vulnerability of you and the audience, and having that. It's a little bit mean, a little bit maybe charming if you can get to it, but it's an interesting point to try and reach with an audience. But it's not everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, but it's good. In the olden days when we're talking about court jesters, the point was for the court jester to mirror back the society view to the king without getting their head lopped off. So in a sense, the goal really with that moment in hosting that show was to be mirroring not just the audience, not just myself, but accessing deeper points, deeper themes within what can be in the room, and have it be funny. Yeah, so that was an interesting one as well. Right, so that's some things. I said some things. Isn't that good enough? I think it can be good enough. If you enjoyed this, book onto my course. If you didn't enjoy this, you can still book onto my course and tell me what you'd rather me talk about. There we go. How's that for a deal? Tell me what you want me to talk about if you didn't like this. It is. Thank you, Christian. I assume you're the only one watching because you're or the only one commenting. But I'm going to stop. So thank you if you are watching this all the way through to the end. Thank you for getting through all of this. Hopefully it's been interesting. Not completely informative because I don't remember all of the history of all these places. This week's one doesn't have as much as last week's one. But yeah, anyway, book on to the course. It's my fundamentals of improv comedy on the 11th and 12th of June in Basingstoke. You can find that course on Eventbrite. So come enjoy yourself. Let me have a fun, enjoyable time as well. Laugh at you improvising, because that's why I do it. One of, there's many things you can get from doing it. The joys of seeing improv and the rewards of having people succeed in front of you, etc., etc. Good. I'm going to stop talking and you can do whatever you're going to do next. Thank you and ciao.